We got an Avid SC48. It's hard to believe these are 17 years old if this one came out in 2009, the year they were introduced. I'll have a read while you take a look at the photos, but from this first photo, this looks like a really nice, clean example. Avid Venue SC48 digital mixer, 48 inputs, 48 mono mic line channels with XLR only, 16 aux sends, switchable pre-post and mono stereo, 8 groups, 8 VCAs, 8 matrix buses, 8 mute groups, 16 assignable outputs, left, right plus mono and LCR, left, center, right capable, TDM plugin support, Pro Tools LE Firewire recording interface. This console is in excellent mechanical and physical condition and has never been toured. Includes the Avid SC48 console with an inserted AI16 input card, IO16 AES output card, word clock card, new ViewSonic LED monitor, a wireless keyboard and mouse, surge protector, 2 LED console lights, the monitor mount, the mouse pad plate, and all necessary cables and accessories, an additional trackball mouse, the manual, and the iLock USB smart key. It also comes with an R&R case and an easy tilt stand, all for $6,500, marked down from $7,500 in Crawfordsville, Indiana. Oh yeah, here's a few more details here. It comes with a stage box with 2 AI16 input cards, 1 output card, mounted in a new EWI tour case with 4-space and 2-space rack drawers and a black line power conditioner. 1 R&R SC48 heavy-duty tour case, 1 console protective dust cover, 1 new word clock card spare, and 1 Pro X Easy Tilt stand. Those are not cheap new. And here around the back we can see some of the cards that have been installed, and there's the stage box in that EWI road case. So quite a package for $6,500. Certainly looks like you could take this right out and use it. It looks like it's been extremely well taken care of, and like they say, never toured. So what do you think the market is for these now though? Is $6,500 fair, or do you think they're gonna have to keep marking this one down even further? Super clean though. These aren't live sound related at all, but does anybody else remember mixing on these when they were popular? I remember that the University of Maryland UMBC campus had these in their Studio A control room back in the early 2000s. And I didn't go there, but I did play in a band with 3 recording students there at the time, and they were able to book the studio just by writing their name down on the scheduling chart. So we had that studio booked usually overnight. We worked at a music store, Bill's Music House in Catonsville, until 9 p.m. was when the music store closed. So by the time we got out of there, grabbed some food, and drove over the 5-minute drive onto the campus to the music department, we would have the whole studio to ourselves until dawn sometimes. And it was a lot of fun. And that was my only real exposure to these speakers. And I really enjoyed them at the time, but that may have just been because they were so different from anything else that I had been exposed to at the time. I'd be very interested to go back and work on these again and see if I enjoy them as much. We're heading down to Madisonville, Kentucky for a professional sound equipment listing, marked down from $10,000 to $9,000, and it's been up for 31 weeks, and from first glance here, it looks like some pretty nice, clean equipment. So let's take a look at what we've got here. Professional sound system for sale. 1 Allen & Heath MixWizard WZ416-2 mixer with a Rode case included. 2 DBX DriveRack PA Plus processors. 1 rack mount analog snake with remote plug, 20 XLR female and 8 male. So a 20 by 8 snake there with disconnects from what I saw in the first photo. Yeah, interesting. Speaker cabinets with dual 15 Kappa Pro speakers and 110-degree fiberglass horn with a 2-inch Radian driver. Custom-made heavy-duty speaker covers included. I'm not yeah, I guess the speaker covers. Are the cabinets custom-made and heavy-duty or just the speaker covers? We get 2 aluminum dollies that raise the speaker cabinets up to the desired height. Speakers remain on the specially designed dollies for raising and lowering, easy to raise and lower. You get 2 QSE 2450 power amps, 1 rack case for those, cables from amps to the speaker cabinets. All you need are the microphones. Great for a band, musical group, church, or event center, etc. All of this equipment is in excellent condition. Would prefer to sell as a complete system. And we can see these custom-made dollies they've got. I would have to assume they go a little higher than this maybe, and you would put the sub down here as ballast. Otherwise, that looks like it could be a little bit precarious. And these certainly do look like homemade cabinets here all around on the top. So they've homemade the cabinet as well as these lifts. Very interesting. And there is, looks like there's just 1 drive rack PA. I don't know why they've got 2 listed over here for that. Maybe there's another one somewhere. And you know what? I was completely mistaken. There are no subwoofers in this listing. I think these are just the cases for these speakers standing up on their own. I don't think there are subwoofers to put on these as ballast, like I was saying before, because they're not listed anywhere in the listing. And the more I look at it, I think these are just covers. So, wow, yeah, you've got a 16-channel mixer with no processing other than a drive rack, and that's outputting just to some custom-made dual 15 cabinets that are precariously cranked up in the air on these stands with no ballast. Very interesting listing. $9,000 out of Madisonville, Kentucky. Let me know what you think on that configuration. We got a Peavey Versarray line array in Elizabeth, Colorado, marked down from $22,500 to only $12,000. This system looks like it is all Peavey from start to finish. You take a look at the photos and I will read through the listing. Used in good condition working line array includes the following: 4 of the double 18 Versarray subs, 8 of the 112 Mark II tops, 2 amp racks consisting of one 3,000, one 5,000, and 2 7,000 watt amplifiers. All speaker cables, speaker covers, rain covers, and fly bars are included. And that's all the information we get there. We get a few more photos to go through. Now, I've been trying to find information online about the Versarray stuff, and it's kind of hard to tell exactly what's what, because it seems like there was a version of the Versarray a long time ago, and then another version of the Versarray maybe were resurrected, or I don't know if there was a gap in the production from one to the other, but most of the stuff I can find online about the Versarray's introduction and release has to do with the later versions of them. And I can't find much at all about the original ones, but I could swear I saw a Peavey Versarray system with the ribbon tweeters in use on the B stage at the HF Festival at RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C. back in 1997 or 1998 out in the parking lot. And I remember specifically going to check them out because they were a new thing with the ribbon drivers and all of that. And I remember them not being very remarkable that day, amongst everything else that was going on. But that's been a lot of years and a lot of shows since then, so I could be misremembering that entirely.
Strange the tricks the mind can play.
But trying to find any information on anything in the Versarray line in the 1990s online, it just doesn't seem to exist. So I wonder if anybody watching this would know more about the actual lineage of these. Funny enough, this system here looks like one of the older systems to me. It says it's the Mark II tops, and it's being offered for sale by a person named Joel Roberts, who I can't help but thinking might be a cousin of John Roberts, who was an engineer at Peavey, kind of in the time when the first round of Versarray would have been coming into their minds and being put down on paper as something they wanted to make. I bet there's no relation there, but it's unusual to see an entire PA system this heavily Peavey based in Colorado with somebody named Joel Roberts attached to it. That just seems like a big coincidence. This is real stuff here now, and real money too. We're talking $50,000 marked down from $55,000 in Franklin, Tennessee, and it looks like a really nice package. So if you are interested in this package at all, please do search for this Waves audio console package out of Franklin, Tennessee, and give them a shout and let us know if you work out a deal, because this looks very clean. I'll read the description here. This set of consoles is set up for full touring capability. It has been packaged by one of the best companies in Nashville for case building packaging. That's OCD Labs. This could also be used for a church install or something similar, and that would definitely work. And I'm not going to read through all of these numbers individually, but they give a pretty good breakout of exactly what's included here. So they're saying the grand total when they purchased this stuff new is $72,546, and that includes tax and everything on the custom cases and the panel mounts and all of this kind of stuff. But I think it's a little easier to see what's involved by looking at the photos. And here's the front of house setup here. Really nice OCD Labs case. Just absolutely beautiful package the way they've set this up. And yeah, on sliders with a keyboard slider and drawers down below to store everything, as well as a laptop arm. And then the other set here where you see all the wireless equipment down below, that is Monitor World. And I don't believe they're selling the wireless equipment with this. I believe we're just talking about the custom cases and all of the stuff that goes along with the console. So you would end up with one case with rack space available to add your own wireless or whatever other stuff you want to carry there for the monitor position. And then you would have the front of house position set up like this with the drawers. So if you're in the world where you see these changing hands on the secondary market, let us know if you think a package the way this is configured is a good deal at $50,000, or what you would change or do differently, or why you think this wouldn't be the best way to go. But as a casual observer, who has not purchased one of these systems before, this certainly looks very nice. This is a classic marketplace listing here. We've got 6 JBL 4886 Vertec cabinets for $5,500 in Arlington, Tennessee. The description says these items were removed from a Presbyterian church and were not pushed at all. They run a very traditional service and not rock and roll. Boy, you don't know what you do to me. All cabinets are in good working order and have been tested in our shop. The only thing is the previous installer thought it would be great to paint black cabinets white. These are not the white models from JBL. It looks like somebody went down to Home Depot and got some supplies and just got to it. And maybe they did this after they were already hung in the air, because it doesn't look like they did a fantastic job with like the coverage or the prep work. It kind of looks like they just got up there and went for it. You can kind of see some shadow here where maybe the cabinets were still plugged in when they sprayed them, right? But man, they made a real mess out of these. And when you look closer at the front, like they are gloppy and like all in the grills and everything. Just as a quick reference for anybody who has not seen them, this is a set of factory white JBL speakers. They make all of these speakers in white. So yeah, if you need white speakers in the future, get a hold of your dealer, not just JBL. Most big manufacturers do this, and they'll be able to provide you with speakers without you having to get up there and spray paint them yourself. This listing, by the way, is $1,400 a box on these 932 LA in white. Carmel, Indiana. These all seem to be in pretty nice shape. Heading down to Louisville, Kentucky, we've got a complete turnkey PA system based around a Behringer XR18 Air, or X-Air 18. I can never remember that. Is it the XR18 Air or the X-Air 18? It's X-Air XR18. No wonder I couldn't remember. Complete turnkey PA, originally engineered to provide remote location sound needs. This solution affords you all the flexibility you would need. It sounds like they used ChatGPT to write this. It could work as a road rig or as a permanent installation somewhere. XR18 software can reside on a laptop computer as well as a tablet, which allows you to roam. Okay, he's just doing a sales pitch here. Let me get down to up to 28 inputs, includes Peavey 14 analog mixer. combination of digital and analog mixers with a Behringer XR18 Air as the main system. So he's got a submixer and a mixer. Okay. 3,500 front of house watts. All right. 7 aux mix possibilities. Mains can be hung from ceiling or put on stage. Several monitor options and a dual 15-inch subwoofer. Cross-connected outputs for in-ear monitor solutions in rack. Don't know what that means. Processor and amps, Behringer XR18 Air. He's listed that like 6 times now. Crest ProLite 5.0. We've got a Behringer NX4 6000 and also a Behringer NX 3000, which I think is this one here. Then there's a Drive Rack PA2, an FBQ 1000 feedback eliminator, of course, an ART P16 patch panel, which I think we just saw, an ART S8 XLR splitter, a Furman PL8C, a Furman PL Plus C, and then on to the speakers we go, which we've got in this photo here, which looks like a nice little shed. So we've got the classic B52 SL315 subwoofers there. We've got some Peavey Pulse 500. We've got some Yamaha BR15. I'm not sure of the total quantities on all of these. Some of them seem to be in pairs. Some of them kind of singles dotted around the room. Lots of Speak-On and 1/4-inch 14-gauge speaker cables. New cable management. Rolling toolbox. Rack filled with every audio connector / adapter you'll need. Grip tape and every conceivable miscellaneous part and equipment, DI boxes, 4-piece drum mic kit, 12x4 XLR snake, and 8-input XLR snake for drums. If interested, I'll supply complete inventory on a spreadsheet. I will say, just as a point of order, as I like to add to these occasionally, when you're listing equipment like this for sale, you cannot write new next to it unless you are a dealer for that equipment. None of this equipment is new. It doesn't matter how recently you bought it. It's all used. You're the first buyer. It was new when you bought it, and now you are selling it on the second-hand market as used equipment. So you can write new next to stuff all you want, but unless you are a dealer and this stuff comes with a warranty, this isn't new gear. So if we can't get that kind of, understanding as a buyer and a seller right off the bat, if we can't agree on just basic words, like what words mean, I'm wondering what your deal is already, and I'm probably not even going to make an offer on a system like this. $13,000, whether or not that's a good deal. Personally, this is a pile of stuff that I couldn't do much with. The real concern here is that it's not a very cohesive system that somebody else is likely to want in this configuration. You've got a couple of small mixers, no big mixer. You've got some random splitters. You've got a really diverse selection of speakers. Maybe just sell the speakers off individually and pair some of them with some amplifiers and then get down to a control package that somebody might actually be able to look at and say, yeah, that makes sense. On the whole, I think the system looks like it was put together for a pretty specific use, and I think this is going to be one that they'll do a lot better to break up and sell separately, especially this kind of random selection of speakers they've collected over the years. It's very unlikely that you're going to find one person that's going to want to shell out for all of this stuff. It's completely mismatched, right? That's pretty unlikely one buyer is going to want to make that mistake again.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
This is some special stuff right here. This is Murfreesboro, Tennessee. 2 Bose Ultimate Rube Goldberg line array speakers, $950, marked down from a very ambitious $2,100. And yes, they are in stock. There's been an update in big block letters by simply adding 2 speaker stands, a little more clamp hardware, and some longer speaker cables. This powered stereo speaker system can be split into 2 powered stereo speaker systems. Hold the presses. So for smaller gigs of a couple of hundred people, you only need to bring 1 rolling speaker box. For the bigger gigs of 400 to 600 people, you can double up and bring both boxes. This cat is off the reservation. They have lost the plot. 400 to 600 people with whatever we're looking at here is crazy. Let's keep reading, and I'll let you look at the photos. You'll either love these or think they are nuts. I think I'm in the latter category there so far. But once you hear them, you'll love them. As a self-employed, penny-pinching musician, I wanted Bose L1 line array speakers, but couldn't afford them. I hear that. So I built my own version out of 6 pairs of Bose Acoustimass 5 Series 2 speaker systems. I think those are like the installation series or the home theater series. I have to look that up. And it looks like these were, in fact, a home theater system that was popular in the 1990s. They made similar cube speakers like this that you could see installed at retail locations. Best Buy used to have them up in their ceiling back then too, but they were slightly different. Everything except the mounting pole that screws into the rear lid as the base for the array fits inside the 2 rolling boxes. Only 1 box is pictured, but I am selling them as a matched set for the listed price. Each box holds 3 subwoofers plus a Mackie M1400i power amp. Each line array has 12 Bose cubes. There's our amplifier and our 3 subwoofers. I don't know if that's kind of an interference fit he's got going on here with some shims in between them to keep them wedged together without rattling maybe. And then kind of a modified the old 2x4 rack rail there. After building these, I discovered they have several flexibility advantages over Bose's official, in quotes, line array speakers. He's given us bullet points on those advantages. Number 1, you can easily adjust the height of the line array by placing it on the floor or placing it on top of the subwoofer box, and you can fine-tune the height by adjusting the clamp height on the pole. Fair enough. You can easily tilt the whole line array upward or downward to follow the angle of an incline of the audience seats and bleachers. Now, that's a good point, honestly, because I've seen a handful of like small acts using those Bose L1 little systems, and it's very common that they perform at venues where you're kind of like playing towards a hill, vineyards and small patios where there's like a little grassy area, where people might sit or congregate. And yeah, you definitely cannot aim those up at all. So fair play there. Number 3, line arrays are designed to deliver clear sound a long distance, so they work great in a long rectangular room. But if the room is too wide, the inner and outer edges of the audience may get missed. You can swivel every other cube on these arrays to cover wider areas. So he's got like a variable pattern horn going on here. So often you may simply want to swivel a couple of the bottom cubes inward to cover the audience members in the middle front row. He's got front fills built in. Goodness. We use these speakers for our live shows for crowds of 1 to 600 people, and they are great. In spite of the tiny size of the cubes, they can go really loud, but they also have a very smooth, full sound. We love them in spite of their unusual appearance, but we are now retired and scaling down and liquidating. A lot of things in quotes here. We will also be selling our Prevost bus motorhome soon. Oh, well, I want to check that out. Technical details. I can confidently guarantee that every one of the 24 Bose cubes and the 6 subwoofers are in perfect operating condition because it is impossible to burn them out. Number 2, both Mackie 1400i power amps are in excellent shape. 3, I will include 2 100-foot long XLR cables on reels for connecting the speakers to your mixer or stage box. 4, I will also include a heavy-duty extension cord for each speaker. I believe they are 50 feet long and 12-gauge wire. The components of this system cost around $4,000 when new. I built the boxes out of heavy plywood from Lowe's, and the wheels also came from Lowe's. By the way, goodness, how long is this thing? Okay, we're getting to the end. You can test out the power, smooth full frequency response, and the adjustable coverage patterns. We live just outside the city limits on the south side of Murfreesboro. Am I saying that right? Murfreesboro? So yeah, I think this listing is right on the mark. You're either going to love this system or you're going to think he's nuts, but he's won me over with that one. $950 for the whole thing. I think you got it priced fairly as a fun experiment, and if it does even a part of what he's suggesting it might do, that's a pretty good deal. And unfortunately, he has not listed the bus yet, so we can't have a look at that. But he does have some barn doors for some lights available as well. So stay tuned for the bus listing in a future episode, maybe.
KNME TV now concludes its broadcast day.